Hello, and welcome to Katawa Shoujo! I have never played this game, even though it's been around for like ever. It's been around for 100,000 years, and I have somehow managed to not know anything about it, except for that it is a dating sim, and it follows disabled girls and Harry Potter. That's all I know. And I also know that there's like a Flash game that you like are on a bike and you run people over, and no, you're the person who gets run over. I don't know what that is, and I'm pretty sure there's like several different versions of that game. I don't know what the original version is. But we're gonna play the actual Katawa Shoujo. I keep wanting to call it Katawa Shoujo because I've always called it that for no good reason. But I will try to refrain. I will fail. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling, because you are. A dead tree limb is just a kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 o'clock p.m. Ah yes, the note slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. Sneaky, sneaky, sneakies. As far as cliches go, I'm more of a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. How many letters are you getting, sir? Or ma'am? As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. This is a setup. This is like in Spawn, whenever they're like, yo, Brody, meet us at this place, and then they set him on fire, and I think they shoot him a couple times. I think that's what's gonna happen. That's how we become, I assume we go to like some school that's for disabled people specifically, even though I'm not sure if that's a thing. The snowflakes silently falling from the white painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Alright, Brody. Just because you're in like a snowy woods doesn't mean the whole world is stagnant. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time has slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me. Interrupting the quiet mood, someone is approaching me from behind. Hi, Hisao? You came? God, I hope so, otherwise you just approached a stranger. A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation, because I'm a big old creeper. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. And then I fall over dead. Guess not. This is the screen that you see before somebody runs you over in that Flash game I mentioned. Iwanako, I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it, I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line, and that was the result. That wasn't a line. That wasn't a line. That was you just being like, oh, it was you? Pathetic. Oh, you're like in high school. I wouldn't expect much else from you. Yes, I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle even if I tried. Trees. I can't think of anything more beautiful. Oh wait, are we actually gonna die? I didn't like that heart pounding noise. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst out from my chest and claim this girl for Jesus for itself. And I fell over. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches. The cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches, even ever so softly, against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her finger, as opposed to doing it with gusto. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. Bro, my throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You need to chill. You've known this woman for years, apparently. You see, I wanted to know. You're about to kill him. Iwanako, you don't know what's happening. You're about to kill him. He's gonna die. If you'd go out with me. I stand there, motionless, safe from my pounding heart. You keep mentioning your heart. I feel like you're straight up gonna die. I didn't think that's how this would start. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Isao? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Isao? My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror, as I straight up fucking die in the middle of the woods. Good lord. Hisao, but in yelling. I already said it too loud before. I don't feel comfortable screaming it any louder. I think that would be the bad. The beating in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant clatter of the branches above. As I... Credits. Oh. Four Leaf Studio presents Katawa Shoujo. Fuck. I said the wrong one. Does I say inspiration? Inspiration writing. Writing. Blurry names. Editing. Kagami. Lost Tarot. Third person. Music. Blue 123 and Nico. Art. These people. And Pimmy. The one I saw was Pimmy. Art. More artists. Additional art. Climactic. Doomfest. You. FMV. I assume that's this. Oh, no. FMV does not mean what this is. I thought they meant like the starting animations, which are quite good. I don't know what to expect. I've seen such a variety of art coming from this, probably because it's been out for like 300 years and hasn't... I guess it's probably went through like a couple art updates, so my understanding of the art direction is not concrete. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. You're too young to have a heart attack. I guess that's probably the point. Well, I mean, I guess anyone can really have a heart attack, but statistically, that's not good. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. Oh no. We hate hospital. Well, we don't hate hospitals, but we hate having to be in them. Or maybe we hate hospitals. We might hate hospitals. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts, so I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. I'll never breathe again. Arrhythmia. A strange word. It just means that your heartbeat is off. One that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition? Is it? It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of life. But then I jumped out of that window. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. All these medical terms. And I don't know if hemorrhage is the word you're looking for. I had already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Oh, those medical bills are no joke. I don't know how they are in Japan, but in the US of A, like, you're fucked. You can try to sell your house, but it won't be enough. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts began trickling down to nothing shortly after. I realized that the only reason I'd gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Oof, that hurts. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it, because I'm the protagonist and I'm angsty. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Alright, buddy. These people have lives. Iwanaka was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital, you may ask? Why yes, it's right here, in this image, behind this transparent black block. It's not really a place I'd like to live in. Well, the doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they are in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them. But it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I would be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. Is this based off of, like, real-life experiences? Whoops. Oh? Because they sure do use a lot of these terms. It makes me feel like maybe they've heard them before. If so, that's high-key unfortunate. I am not a fan of hospitals. I am widely familiar with them. I do not like them. I don't like being in them, rather. I guess as a concept, they're fine. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left on my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answers shows that there is at least some hope. At some point I stopped watching TV. I don't know why. I just did. Nothing was on. Same soap operas. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. Much prefer digging deep into the bottle. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital, although it was more like a storeroom for books. Is that not what a library is? Is a library not a storeroom for books? I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I think I even became a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands, because I'm a nerd, but I love the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. It felt the time blurred into some kind of gooey mass I was trapped inside, instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness, through the barrier of nonchalance I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely. And I couldn't even cry. That's unfortunate. Whenever you feel like you need to cry and then you can't, it's the worst. Today the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf, but he really couldn't give less of a shit about me because I'm only one of his many patients. And to expect a doctor to form an attachment to every single patient he interacts with is cruel, really, because, what if they die? Patients come and go. Can't be expected to live with all that guilt. He's just a human, and I'm a patient. Let's keep it professional. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party, because you can't have parties in hospitals. There's this ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers. Blech, I'm choking to death. Then setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. Cool, Mr. Cardiologist, or Mrs., I don't know, or Ms. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Hisao. How are you today? I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and take a look myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? Well, you just take the fucking pills, buddy. That's the reaction. Warfarin, Cardilol, cold extremities, 12 hours, fatigue. These aren't... Fatigue isn't a medicine. Warfarin. They like to put warfarin in there. Nil. Cardiac. 48 hours. I can't read these. They're all bumbled up on each other. Cardiac arrest is also not a medicine. The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters, especially the ones that aren't actually medicine. This is insane. How could I, a high schooler, suffering from heart problems, be expected to take so much medicine? Crazy. Side effects, side effects. Side effects, adverse effects. contraindications and dosages are listed line after line with cold precision. I tried to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All this for the rest of my life? Every day? Yes. I'm afraid that is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents, and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please calm down, Sal. Oh wait, that's not the doctor. Doesn't matter, same voice. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down. The way he says it tells me he knew full well that I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? I don't want to be around my parents. They suck. Whatever of my concern shows, it's ignored. Because I'm a child, and I'll get choices. We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. Because you can't be supervised at regular schools. Trust those guys? Public teachers? They don't get paid enough to care. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? Am I? It has a 24-hour nursing staff and only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of students live on the campus, except you. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? In a school for disabled kid? Don't try to disguise that fact. If it was really that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple of weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I really don't have a choice. Again, you're like 15 probably. No, you don't get a choice. You're a baby. Oops. That didn't happen. Shh. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamn opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one, it's still a school. A special school. That's an insult. That is what I want to say. It's a step down. This is a little uncool of you, Mr. Hisao. If you weren't a teenager, I'd be a little more upset with you. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help, in one way or another. Your father's right, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. God fucking Hisao. I really hate that something so important was decided for me. But what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I'd always thought my life was actually kind of boring, but now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now. Something about how I can go back to school anyway. But no. I don't say anything. The fact is that I know now it's futile. I look around the room, feeling tired of all this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school, what are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something, even if it's a special school. It's something. It's a fresh start, and my life isn't over. It would be a mistake to just resign myself to thinking that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new school life will look like. That's what transitions sound like. That me? Look at me. I am broken-hearted literally, and probably figuratively. Act 1. Life expectancy. This gate looked far too pompous for what it was. Alright, buddy. Get over yourself. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. 'Cause I'm mad. Red bricks, black wrought iron, and gray plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. It was like a prison. I'm nothing but a student in this school of life, this prison of earth, this meat flesh. Yeah. I wonder if it looked like what a gate for a school should look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long. I entered through it with a brick. Hello? I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. Yeah, I would think so. These are like real pictures, like photographs, which is what the credits said, so I don't know why I'm surprised. So I walked towards the main building of Yamaku Academy. With this brisk pace, I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have, more like a park, with a clean walkway going past trees and the smell of fresh cut grass and all other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. It makes me shudder. I hate cleanliness. I want to roll around in mud. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. I guess he'd be upset with the clean and hygienic since he'd spent like 4 months in a hospital. Be a little over it. But like, it's like a park, it's nice. It looks nice to me. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies, too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head, it doesn't feel like one. What is that? What is this? Is it a garbage can? What is sitting here? I wonder if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of the school for the disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kind of eerie. It's probably because they're in class. They still have a regularly scheduled class. It makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind and green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. It makes me think about hospitals again. How they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green, the color green is a common color. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? Because you have now associated green with anxiety being in a hospital. That is how that works, my friend. Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It's because it looked like the gates of hell. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous with this realization set in my head, I opened the front door. There was a really long ramp. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. Hello? Sir? Does he have bad posture? He looks like he has pretty decent posture to me. You must be Niki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Muto. Welcome. We exchange a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Stop it. How do I keep doing this? Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. That seems normal? Thinking of this, I almost miss what the teacher is saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class?
Why? I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure, I mean, isn't that normal? Of course, but not everyone likes to be the center of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go, then. Muto seems like a pretty decent person. He seems exhausted and tired. I can relate to that. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. The third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for class 3-3. There's too many threes. There's too many threes. I don't like it. Muto opens the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I was nursing this hangover. Don't worry about it, kids. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step, I know that. But there isn't any point worrying so much about it. At least not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. It's pretty spacious. The ceiling is unusually high. There's lots of space left over around and in between the desks. Yeah. I only recognize one of you. I recognize this girl in the back with her, little hand over her eye. The entire wall taken up by blackboards and the high, old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. The students' desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames, simple and efficient. I stop walking in front of the classroom and face the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school, but then, why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them. Only it's just not immediately obvious. Then I notice that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb of her right hand. It's a little jarring, because I'm a judgmental prick. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. There's two more people I recognize. Pink hair drills. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone is looking at me. A girl with really long, straight hair. that is pretty eye-catching, oh, good lord, I can't read! As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it will make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rim of her glasses, then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute. So is the cheery-looking girl with the pink hair sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands, and so does everyone else, except one girl in the first row, who has only one hand. Poor baby. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing, and thanks for this applause I did not deserve. A collective silence tells me that I should open my mouth now, but instead I just leave. Hi, I'm Hisao Nakai. And after that, and then, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone, even though I'm a new student, and you can't get along with new students, you have to bully them. That's the rules. And after that, I'm being so boring. This is exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks up from there. And I'll leave it off here. So, this is Katawa Shoujo. It's okay so far. It's about typical visual novel. The protag is kind of a fuck, but I guess it makes for more interesting dialogue. I'm not sure. But maybe he'll get less fucky as we proceed. I have a feeling this is gonna be pretty potentially problematic given what I've seen so far and the fact that it's from like 2000 BC or something. So yeah, I'll leave it up there and we'll see what happens in the next video. Bye!